Bookworms, welcome to the Weekend Readers Book Club. Thank you for joining us. In this episode, we are discussing the unique book that I've just read, which is Danielle Steel's Accidental Heroes. So, a quick summary of Danielle Steel's Accidental Heroes is plane is going to be hijacked, and it's up to individuals on the plane to make the right choices to hopefully deter the bad people, B, get the plane to safety, and C, hopefully, make sure people stay alive. That's the gist of the story, and we go from inception of, something may be an alert to say, hey, something's going to happen, all the way through trying to figure out if something is going to happen, confirming something's happening, and then the gist of it where it actually happens on the plane. That's the story, and that's sort of the time period that we cover off from the book that Danielle Steel wrote. I've read the book, and here are my thoughts, and I'll go a bit more in depth with the story itself, but yeah, here are my thoughts. This book is weird, right? Danielle Steel's Accidental Heroes. It's weird in the sense it's a lot of realism to it. Like, to expand on the intro that I said, we go from a TSA officer finding something that may not be an alert to say something's going to happen, but it may be an alert to say something's happening. She takes it through to Homeland Security. Homeland Security and the FBI, I think it is, have to try and work out, is it a real threat, or is it just, we're just looking too deep into something that's not there. We go through that process of the story. We then get the Homeland Security's conversation with the pilot, who then has been told that, hey, there might be something going on, to, hey, there is something about to go on with your plane. Come to the realization that there's no air marshals on the plane. We go through how profiling of customers profiling of travelers, I should say, on an aeroplane, and two Saudis get racially profiled in this book. If you can catch my drift, plot twist, they're not the bad people, but hey, I'll let you figure out and experience what they are in the long run. This book has a lot of intertwining parts to it. I mean, pilots, co-pilots, retired pilots, ex-agents that are on board, people just traveling, unaccompanied minors, couple of Saudis, how the flight attendants, a man who's kidnapped his baby, or not kidnapped, kidnapped his baby. He's taking the baby away from the mum. The mum and dad separated. A lady taking travelers, a group of girls on a singing trip who just doesn't care about the girls, and the girls are running muck. It's a mind-boggling story, captivated all in the story of, hey, the plane may be taking over. We sort of need to look at this, and the plane is going to potentially be taken over. We need to save what we can to make sure people get off safely. It takes you on a wild, wild ride. Now, I know that's a lot of information, but this book blew me away for a couple of reasons. One, I thought Danielle Steel was like a romance lady. That's originally what I thought she was. I had no idea that this book or this genre or type of book was in Danielle Steel's warehouse. So I was really surprised that I didn't get a sappy romance novel going into this. I mean, there's a bit of romance in relation to the overarching stories of the passengers and them meeting and, falling in love. And then also some of the passengers that you meet are in different stages of their relationships with their significant others that play a part in the story as well. So there's a bit of that. But overall, it wasn't like a sappy romance novel, which I was really shocked at. And I was really shocked at as I said, the realism of the book. This surely would have had to be written after 9/11, right? Because damn, there is some clawbacks to that, and I'm just ooh. Especially, well, the biggest clawback, I think, would have been just the profiling of certain ethnicities flying and the fact that we're on a plane again and it's going to get hijacked. But yeah, it was wild. It was a wild story. And yeah, it was not what I expected, but it was very, very, very enjoyable. So the question will be, with this very enjoyable book that I read for Danielle Steel, Accidental Heroes, that I thought was going to be a sappy love story because that's what I thought Danielle Steel wrote, I got an action drama. Yeah, I would say it's an action and drama story be going onto my bookshelf as a book that I will keep and reread at a later date. The answer is, I don't know. Like, I really, really enjoyed this book. But I'm sort of on the fence. Like, okay, so I want to say no, it hasn't made my bookshelf. But I'm on the fence in the sense that I sort of want to gauge and read a bit more Danielle Steel books, because this book was so free-flowing in the sense that I was able to pick it up. The character development was explained very well. It just flowed chapter to chapter. There wasn't any clawback or anything like that in relation to past tense. We're just going straight forward in realism time of what's happening. And it was so easy to follow and read. I'm like, are all Danielle Steel books like this, or is this the only one? Because, like, is this is she normally a romance writer, and then this is sort of outside her wheelhouse as a special project she did? Or am I completely bonkers in the sense that I thought Danielle Steel was a romance novelist, and she isn't? So, Accidental Heroes by Danielle Steel, you haven't made my bookshelf. However, Danielle Steel, I'm going to be looking for you at my book fairs I go to now to see whether or not I can pull up some of your other books to see what they're like in relation to this and see if they're as enjoyable as Accidental Heroes. But even though you haven't made the bookshelf, this book is a hell of a lot of fun to read. It was enjoyable. I just wouldn't reread it again, but it's got me really intrigued with Danielle Steel. So, as it customs here on the Weekend Readers Book Club, as one book closes, another book has to open, and it is now time to find out what the next read is. And Bookworms, we can confirm the next read is Alice's Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Picked this up at a book fair. It was $1. I was surprised because I was like, oh, I have never read Alice in Wonderland. I wonder what this was like. As you know, previously, I did The Wizard of Oz. Didn't like that. So I'm going to give Alice in Wonderland a read and see how it is. I've never read Alice in Wonderland. I know roughly the story. Falls in a hole, takes some drugs, and then she trips out and sees like a bunny or like the king and queen and stuff on the Mad Hatter, who like gives her opiate tea and she's all like, oh, it's a big worm. But like, I haven't read the story itself. So I'm going to give it a whirl. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. You are the next read for the Weekend Readers Book Club. So Bookworms, there you have it. That was my rant and review of Danielle Steele's Accidental Heroes, a book, as I said, thoroughly enjoyed. If you haven't read it, I would say if you like action and drama, give it a whirl. It's a nice, easy read over the weekend, easy to follow, easy to get to take on board. Danielle Steel, you're on my list of people to look at moving forward because I'm intrigued by you. As I said, thought you're romancy, but you're not. You gave me some action drama and I like it. I like it a lot. So Bookworms, thank you again for joining us in this episode. And until next time, happy reading.